And welcome to Cruising With Kayfabe. I'm Mungo.
Emily.
And today we're talking about AEW's most over-the-top characters, gimmicks, whatever you want to call them, past, present, future. And I'm excited because we have a lot of unique characters that we sat down and talked about that we wanted to go over today.
We just happened to be in the conversation of one particular person, and I was like, but there's so many, and I think that that's kind of what brings the spice of life into AEW is having some character development and really just fun people to talk about.
And what I like is, AEW is different than WWE, which is different than TNA and different. Wrestling is a variety show. So they don't present the characters the same way as WWE, who maybe don't present it the same way as other companies. So these gimmicks we kind of chose were ones that maybe at first we didn't think they were going to work, and they did. And I think that's what goes to show you why we want to do this episode, because to me, what embodies everyone on this list today is commitment to the bit, getting over when it probably shouldn't have, and lasting impact. So that's kind of what our choices were. So I think without further ado, we're going to get this person out of the way. We have a whole episode on YouTube. Make sure you go follow and subscribe to us on YouTube. Help me get a haircut. We're at 630 as of today, so 370 away, and I'm going bald. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe at Cruising With Kayfabe. And while you're there, check out our episode about Orange Cassidy, who is our first choice for our best overall AEW gimmick.
And obviously, these are not numbered. These are not in order. No, and they're all equal for the most part.
We're not ranking them, as I believe is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
We're just kind of talking about it. These are just in order that we kind of, as we were talking, wrote them down. And I kind of switched 2 or 3 of them just so we get to a certain person at a certain point. But obviously, we want to talk about Orange first. He's the perfect example of less is more, sloth style. And I'll admit it, and I've said it many times in the past. When I first saw Orange, I didn't really get it until I did.
I think I saw him in the Double or Nothing Royale. I believe that was the first time we were introduced to him, like yes. Many others.
I feel like that's your meet cute for AEW.
It really is. And I dove into all of the interviews. So this was something that I loved from the very second I saw him. And I had seen all of these other clips of his on YouTube, and I saw him with Chris Statlander.
Him and Priscilla Kelly, we talk about all the time,
yes.
When they switched clothes, and Orange acted like, Priscilla Kelly. Priscilla Kelly acted like Orange, and it was just so fun. And you realize, going back, looking into Orange, he was in Chikara as one of the ants, showing his technical skills. So that's kind of what broadened his horizons, is he showed that he could go.
And he started off with the Best Friends, so you got to see a lot of that develop. And then obviously they brought in other people.
The hugs with the thumbs up.
Yeah, and now we've got the conglomeration. So you've really seen Orange develop and take on a more hardcore kind of style, being in conglomeration. I can't even conglomerate today.
I was gonna say, bleh. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. He started out like purely comedic sloth style, like his. I would say AEW 2019 to probably the tail end of 2020 is pretty much comedy. He had his match with Pac. He tried.
Jericho.
He had hands in his pockets. He did everything to play the mind games. But then he gets his international title run, and you're like, okay.
This boy can go.
He can go. He can wrestle. And you start to see, as you talk about the episode we just released, our Forbidden Door matches, you see him against Ospreay and a Zack Sabre Jr. and a Moxley and a Pac. You see him against all these big-name people, and you're like, he's a main eventer. I'll never forget Double or Nothing with Kenny Omega and Pac, the triple threat. He was in a world title match, and you're like, okay, Kenny Omega's on a god tier level run with these titles, and Orange Cassidy's in the same ring with him and Pac. Like, that just didn't happen, and that showed you the trust Tony had, because we talked about earlier, leaning into the bit, commitment. Orange commits to this bit, whether it's him used to pop out of random locker rooms or sleeping backstage, or they would do an interview and he would interrupt people. Like, my all-time favorite is when Mark Henry used to say, "It's now time for the main event." And then Orange Cassidy was like, "It's now time for the main event." And Mark's like, "That's my line." Like, it's just him stealing the moments every time.
Yeah, and Orange has always just been the same fun, charismatic guy. And I definitely enjoy that. That sloth style is really such a hidden talent, because we've said it a number of times before. I'm so sorry for it, but when you can keep your hands in your pockets and do kip-ups and do
dives outside the ring.
Yeah, like, you're doing all of these things. Like, you're using all of those
pure
muscles.
athleticism.
Like, that's not it looks so easy. The only thing easy that Orange does is his kicks, let's be honest. And
or
even
his
that,
promos, because he's a man of few words.
but even that must be hard. I couldn't imagine not talking.
I mean, it's got to be living the dream. I mean, for a while, he would just show up and say, whatever. I mean, that's kind of what, another part of this episode I want to get into is everyone else around Orange, just around these other characters we're going to talk about, commits to them. Justin Roberts, famously does his coming in from wherever. Weighing whatever. So just the little things, or him getting the test pyro, like that little one, little pyro.
He didn't want any, and then he saw that, and he was like, I'll take that.
To having his Mr. Bean entrance at All In, where, by the way, we need to find that street because I'm recreating that when we go.
Yes.
Just everything about him, he gets it. His psychology, his mind for the business. And even if you have old heads who are stuck in the 60s and 70s who call him pockets and don't understand him, your favorite wrestlers do. And that's why I think every year we share that reel, because every time someone says they don't get Orange Cassidy, it's either they watch a match or they wrestle him, and like, I get it now. And that's why he made this list.
Now it's connecting the dots.
And I think I wrote down some of my favorite quotes from Orange Cassidy. My number one is, my name's Orange Cassidy, and I don't have a catchphrase. And you talked about the conglomeration. He started the backpack thing. When he first won the International / All Atlantic title, he carried around in a JanSport backpack. I mean, even Brian from Storms Within, who goes on the cruise with us, had a great picture with Orange Cassidy. And the backpack, if you check it out, was not photoshopped at all. It was not edited. The backpack was really there. And speaking of Storms Within, I want to give a huge shout out. They're playing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland for Women in Metal. It's a special exhibit. Please go check it out. Tickets available at rockandrollhalloffame.com. They're playing with fucking Hailstorm. You want to talk about awesome, and then to see someone, Brian, who's one of our best friends, get mentioned in Blabbermouth magazine, get articles published. That man works hard.
We couldn't be prouder of you.
Couldn't be prouder of her, and I wanted to give him a shout out just because, I found a way to mention you with the Orange Cassidy photo, so I'm going to mention that. So again, Storms Within, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Women in Metal. How can you not want to see badass women in wrestling? And that's why I wanted to use this segue to another badass woman in wrestling, who started off as a rock star, then became a Hollywood glamour, then had some amnesia, and then back to a glamour again. It is the timeless one, the 4-time women's champion, one of my favorite female wrestlers probably of all time now, timeless Toni Storm. So I'm going to ask you first your initial thoughts on the timeless character and kind of how she's evolved over the years.
So I don't know if I was fully into the timeless character when she first developed it, because I loved Rockstar Toni so much. And then reminded myself today watching promos why I enjoyed her so much. And it is that dirty mouth. It is her sass.
Maybe she needs some orbits.
And
she's got to clean it up.
It is definitely the fact that she took a little dig at herself from old characters.
Oh, you mean when she had the RG interview when she first started turning to timeless?
Yes. So I think that was something that was really big to me. And I think that timeless Toni Storm had so many great feuds with so many different women. And they came from her past, and they had to acknowledge timeless as being someone completely different until that amnesia hit, which made it even better. And
I think, too, to kind of, before we get to the amnesia, before we kind of get to that story, the crescendo, if you kind of look at the beginning, she came in as the rock star, like you said, and before she was in AEW, she was NXT UK, she came into WWE, and unfortunately, the storylines and booking didn't go her way. She got freaking pied in the face, and just, that's not what she wanted to do. And she came to AEW, and again, she came with the awesome, iconic guitar riff, entrance music, the rock star Toni. Then she started transitioning into the Outcasts with Saraya and Ruby. And it started to feel different. And then when she started to break into Timeless and have those interviews with RJ, which is great because RJ's gimmick, fun little fact, his is kind of like a Hollywood producer-esque kind of gimmick originally. So we've gone over, again, another episode. We did a whole episode of Mariah May and Toni Storm. We talked a little bit more about how it evolved, but what I really liked was, like you said, she was kind of in a psychiatrist appointment talking about everything and why she was changing her mannerisms and her style. And she was, what'd she say? She was the more badass version of Marilyn Monroe. And she took a pie to the face and everyone laughed at her and she was humiliated. That's what you're talking about when she referenced her past.
I turned my hat backward.
And I liked, again, people bought into it. They leaned into it. You had the subtleties of the black and white entrance, the Hollywood music, the old filters. You know, Mikey Ruckus, shout out to Mikey Ruckus, probably one of the best minds in wrestling for music the past 7 years. Having this grand Hollywood, like Oscar red carpet type of music for her. Toni coming down, you know, like, thank you, darling, thank you, darling. And just, like you said at first, you're like, what is this? And then she would wrestle, and she would wrestle like Toni Storm, but yeah, like you said, very much innuendo, sexualized in a good way, in a positive way, you know.
And then it got real dirty.
Right. Oh yeah, her mouth evolved. But I liked when they said, you know, that her butt was the biggest part of her, you know, bigger than Marilyn Monroe, and she wasn't afraid to go there. And what I really appreciate about Toni Storm is, in previous interviews, she mentioned that public speaking is something that she was terrified of, and to hear her say that when she's probably one of the best promos in the business is wild.
It definitely is.
I really like that, you know, like we said, that after the Mariah May story, Mariah May comes in. She's a super obsessed fan. She gains her trust just to betray her, steal her title. Still the most iconic Owen Hart finals moment ever. You know, incorporating Toni's catchphrase, watch for the shoe, and bludgeons her with the shoe, bloodies her, betrays her, wins the title at All In. Mariah has her run, and then Toni comes back after a hiatus, and she's the rock star again. She's a rookie, and I remember the she's a rookie. And Emily and I were both like, what is this? But I started loving it because you saw little cracks, you saw little tweaks, and we realized maybe there's more to this amnesia gimmick. And
then she dressed up as Mariah. I don't know. The Hollywood ending leading into the rest of what Toni Storm would do in 2025, it was great.
And I just really like you said, because there was a callback, because at Revolution 2024, when she faced Deonna Purrazzo, we heard the original Rockstar Toni Storm music. We're like, what the hell? And Mariah May comes out as like Toni Storm, and we're like, oh, because the first thing Emily says is, that's not Toni. She isn't. Okay. Oh, there's Toni with the timeless
like her
music.
hair's not that long, let alone her tits being that much bigger. Like,
so it was like, okay. And then you liked it. So then when Toni dressed up as Mariah, and I'll never forget the most iconic line she delivered before they set the Hollywood end. What makes you think I've forgotten? And it's just, that line sent shockwaves, and the builds to the Hollywood ending after Grand Slam Australia, where Toni recaptured the title, where she says, they'll like you, they'll never love you. And I sentence you to a lifetime of mediocrity. And I hate that people use that promo as a dig at Blake Monroe now. I really do, because I think it was more for the story. She was saying that, like, you're nothing without me. She wasn't saying Blake Monroe's not a talented wrestler, and people are twisting it, and I think it's kind of shitty.
I sometimes forget that they are the same wrestler, because Blake is actually pretty different from what Mariah was in AEW, because Blake is definitely more of the glamour versus
Mariah's the woman from hell.
Yeah, Mariah definitely was very she was a heel.
The woman from hell.
Yeah,
that's the best way you gotta describe it.
Yeah, she was just a heel, and I think that's why it worked so well for all of them. It was just, she was waiting for her time to turn.
And I still love some of my favorite quotes I wrote down for for Toni Storm is, the tramp is still champ. Chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. What makes you think I've forgotten? What you've just witnessed is the performance of a lifetime. And then, of course, one of my all-time favorites is, they always say the hardest role you'll ever play is yourself. What you just performed is the performance of a lifetime. So I misquoted that. I apologize. But then, you may be the woman from hell, but you came from my womb, and I'll shove you back up there and spit you out. Because that line, to me, was like, holy shit. And it led into that brutal Hollywood ending match, which, to me, probably one of the best women's matches you will see of 2025, if not the decade. And it shows, one, how good Toni Storm is with this character and that storyline. How good Mariah May is a wrestler. How she fit into this storyline. But why timeless is, if they have a Hall of Fame, she's a first ballot AEW Hall of Famer. And I know she's not considered an original, but we call her a pillar for AEW for a reason. And I can't wait till she comes back. We don't want to speculate on anything. We don't know. It's not our job. We're just fans. I just want to see her in the ring again. I'd love a surprise return at All In. I'm not counting on that. But I hope whatever it is, she comes back stronger. I'd love to see if she's going to tweak this character a little bit.
Yeah, just something.
And speaking of tweaking characters, what inspired this episode, what inspired this conversation between Emily and I, because we, believe it or not, we really do have these conversations off mic and camera, which inspires these episodes. Lio Rush, Blackheart Lio Rush. You know, back at Revolution, we saw him at the 0 Hour. He debuted this, well, not new, but new to AEW gimmick called Blackheart. It was like a feral gimmick where he's running around like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
And I was like, what the fuck is that?
We both were. You can go back. You can listen to our predictions and our mainly our review with Jeff and Rachel. We're like, we're not quite sure, but I can confidently say 4 months later, I'm loving this gimmick. I'm loving everything about it. And again, everyone's buying in. Everyone is buying into the gimmick. It's fine. And I just love how, you know, he kind of goes back to his New Japan / his indie run where he would drink from this weird flask looking thing and this black goo and he'd ooze it out and it would come out of his eyes. And again, it makes him this feral, wolf-like, demonic possessed entity. I don't know. It's like if you watch Supernatural, he's like a demon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think he's going for, is just demonic in some way, some form. And we've just seen such a development come from Lio Rush with this. He faced Action Andretti, broke that off.
Which was good because he needed the singles run.
They both did. Action never needed to be in a tag team. I think that he is definitely a single star. Same with Lio. I think that it was great to put them together, but this is even better. And as much as I questioned it when he first came back, now I get it. I completely understand what this was going for. And as atrocious as that gallop is,
she hates it.
I don't want to say
does the gallop. It's because it gives you the ick.
It really
it's supposed
does.
to though. I love it.
It's almost like a contortionist. Like, oh, but don't bend your arm that way. Like, I don't think I want to see your legs that way.
I think what it is it's like in the horror movies, like Silent Hill, when they like, break their own necks and stuff. Yes, it's contortion-y. And shout out to the editorial style. Probably Danny's one of the best creators out there, making everyone's. She made an awesome. Go check out Editorial Style on Twitter. We've shared their video. I always make sure to share her page. She made the entrance video and really leaned into that horror demonic, because there's one where he's like grabbing his face and just contorting and twisting and demonic, and I love it. And I love that just in 4 months. I mean, listen to who he's wrestled since he's turned: Tommaso Ciampa, Orange Cassidy, Action Andretti, and then he became the ROH TV champion. And he grabbed the belt and somehow infused his darkness. So now the whole belt is black. Forbidden Door, we have Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong come in with a hockey bag. And Roderick Strong starts beating people down with a hockey bag. And I'm thinking, all right, I mean, they are in the San Jose Sharks arena. I guess maybe they're going to have some hockey sticks. That's funny. And then they open the bag later on and fucking Lio Rush is inside. And I was like, what the hell?
Like, where did this even come from? And
I love that he instantly creeps everybody out. But then the spot of the night, it wasn't even wrestling. Him and MJF get in the ring. MJF's got his ring on, and he's like, my precious. Just, going back, because everybody called him Gollum when he debuted at Revolution. So the fact that he leaned into fine, you think I'm Gollum, I'll lean into my precious. I want that ring. And I love it because, again, everyone's buying in. They're selling it. You have fucking Don Callis afraid of him the other night on Dynamite. You have all kinds of just chaotic craziness that goes with it. When he jumps out of the ring, he's chased people. He's jumping on poor Daniel Garcia, mauling him. But I love the Jurassic Park style. T-Rex, if we don't move, he can't see us. So now the conglomeration, anytime he's there, they'll all freeze in place until he walks by. Like you have... When he came out, you have them all stop as he entered, but then even after Forbidden Door, you have them all backstage. And he's like, should we let him out of the bag? And they're like, no, you let him out of the bag. Okay, I'll let him out of the bag. And they unzip the bag, and he comes out, they all freeze, and he's like, where's Chicken? Where is he? And he just walks off with his umbrella. It was great. Another gimmick, he's no longer with AEW, but he is crushing it in WWE. Someone that we were a fan of since the Indies. He's been on Jericho Cruises with us. He was in AEW, but unfortunately he wasn't there very long. It's Danhausen, and I love that Danhausen.
Me too. And I think it's hard for us at first to, watch these wrestlers leave, and I am so happy for the success that he is getting.
All the human monies.
Yeah, there are people that know me at work and are like, so have you seen, that Danhausen character? And I just absolutely love that because, that is exactly what I love about wrestling, is that other people watch it and they literally think about me and they want to engage with me on that. And I think that that's really cool and exciting that I get other people into watching this, because they wouldn't watch this if it wasn't for that. And I just find Danhausen to be such a great gift to professional wrestling because
100%.
again, these aren't people that would typically watch that are watching because of something new and different in WWE.
entertaining.
Can you believe it?
Well, and also too, what I like is everywhere Danhausen has been, he's been literal and figurative money. When he was on the indies, he always had merch selling out. And what I like is he talks about it's because it's the merch I'm gonna wear. I'm not gonna release merch I don't wear. And I don't know if they have like they have a wrestling figures database website. I don't know if they have a wrestling merchandise website, but Danhausen's got to be top of that list because that dude had a new shirt every week. Because I have like 5 Danhausen shirts, but just seeing him,
We have socks. We have shorts.
and if you've seen him on the indies or because he hasn't done WWE yet, and I hope he brings it in one day because I think the fans would pop. But I used to love when he would hit people with a jar of teeth, and someone said, "Why isn't that disqualification?" Well, I got him from a dentist, and obviously you know which dentist he was talking about later on. He said, "Now that I work for AEW with a dentist, I have free supply of teeth. No more spending my own money housings." And it's just, he's not meant to be taken seriously as like, oh my God, he's going to go in there, he's going to kick your ass, he's going to destroy you. He's meant to go in there. He's this mixture of Conan O'Brien / Demon. That's funny. And he used to say no swearing because he didn't want to get canceled off television, but now he doesn't care as much because he's on Netflix. He just is very much, he's silly. And again, he leans into it. Everyone buys into it. And when the fans will buy into the goofiness, like him pretending not to know things like, oh, I know the Stone Cold Hausen, and just his goofiness is what works because you root for him because he's fun. He's entertaining. Like when he was on the cruise, the dude was wearing lobster Crocs. Remember, he had like these lobster sandals.
Homer Simpson's dress.
Yeah, the muumuu when Homer Simpson was super overweight. And he's just generally a good dude. We saw him in his human makeup a few times. Obviously, it didn't bother him, but he would still say hi, nod, smile. Cam ran up to him and was like, "Can I get a quick picture?" He was gracious about that
with the makeup on,
and he just was very much willing to give back to the business. I mean, I will never forget when Will Ospreay and Danhausen came out to make the save like they always do in every Jericho cruise. And then just like, wow, Danhausen's in an AEW ring. And that same cruise, he nicknamed the Guns the Ass Boys. And that went over for years and years. And it's just, he knows what to do. And like Emily said, he's a home run for wrestling. I could not be more than happier that he's in WB because maybe it didn't work in AEW because maybe the gimmick wasn't understood. Maybe there's things backstage. Who knows? It's all speculation. We don't know what happened. Obviously, they had him teamed with Hook. They had him with Best Friends. They had him.
Hookhausen was so over too.
And they had him try to come back as like an evil version from him. Remember, they had the Halloween vignettes like very, very, very nice, very nice.
Maybe we'll see something similar this year.
So again, and you know what? It ended up working out well for him going to WB. So I don't fault him, but obviously we couldn't leave him off this list because he was one of my favorites. Everywhere he goes, he's one of the big reasons I'll watch the clips from WWE because I watch for him.
Yes.
And if you've never seen Danhausen, just watch some YouTube clips of him, whether it's past, whether it's current. I think you'll be entertained, and I think you'll become a fanhausen of him. And I know that there's a lot of talent in Danhausen, but this next person, I think it's so unfair because this woman has so much talent in everything she does, from ventriloquism to singing to playing guitar to being comedic to being beautiful to being the center of attention to being a badass wrestler. It's Harley fucking Cameron. Holy shit,
literally,
she's amazing.
like, I don't know how she does it, but she is so adaptable. She can learn anything she puts her hands into.
And she's fearless.
I cannot even start to talk about how great she is as a person, let alone as a wrestler, considering she's only been wrestling a short time. And now it hasn't quite been a short time. It's been probably close to 5 years.
But still, if you think about her uprooting her life from Australia, coming to, WWE NXT, not really, working there, and then taking a chance on herself and moving to Florida and getting trained by the Nightmare Factory and QT Marshall seeing something in her, bringing her in as like a valet, as a TMZ parody character. But then people realized she's got charisma. And I honestly think, to me, the moment that Tony Khan probably saw it is when I saw it. Her and Bowens are in the ring, and she was like flirting with Anthony Bowens, and the whole crowd's like, he is gay, and she's just no-selling it, heel Harley. And then she evolved, and honestly, her getting with Saraya, I think, helped opened people's eyes up to her because she really became over the top and eccentric. And I don't think people give Saraya enough credit for kind of helping keep her on television to keep people seeing it, because that's really what got her on television, kind of got in their train. And it's just, I'm happy for Harley. I was really hoping she won the TBS title, but I know her time will come because she's been a tag team champion. The Babes of Wrath, her in Blood and Guts. Harley has proven time and time again she's willing to try. She's willing to do it. Again, it's a gimmick that works because who doesn't like, mini puppets, like Mercedes Moné puppet? They sell out every venue they go to. I can't wait. I hope I can get one at All In because I want a puppet Monet.
Yeah, and something else that I definitely want to note with this is that she did start training with Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze, and then I believe moved into the Nightmare Factory.
That's right, Flatbacks. Excuse me, I apologize.
Yeah, so she started just doing a music video for the inspiration, and it went from there, and QT worked with her, and everything, again, that she touched turned to gold. She did the knifey, forky, spoony, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but she did that with Saraya.
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, okay, that's what that is. So they did that, and then I want to say about a year ago, she was on the Rule Breakers podcast with Saraya. She's the first ever episode. And I'm so thankful because I think it really helped open Saraya up to what she was talking about as well. So definitely go back and listen to that episode because it is hilarious. Like, if you don't know a whole lot about Harley, that interview is probably a little too much, but
it's good to know it's good to know Danielle. It's good to know the person behind Harley Cameron.
You can tell they're best friends outside of wrestling, and I think that's a lot of fun. If you're a Total Divas fan, that's what you want to see.
And
you want to see who they are.
Mariah May. If you watch Mariah May's old vlogs,
they are best friends.
It's great to see, everyone's friend. Even on the cruise, she was hanging out with a lot of the talent, and you could tell everyone loved being around her because I think the reason why Harley's gimmick works is because it's a personality turned up to 11. And and again, people are buying into it. Like when she plays guitar badly, or she's just singing and being funny, or like you said, she's a singer. And Harley Graham. And, you talk about singing the Inspirations song. It's great to hear on Ring of Honor the night I was watching the Inspirations match, to hear Harley's voice singing their entrance music. Her iconic Feel the Wrath. And Emily was probably the only Harley cat on the cruise, but I guarantee you if she's back this year, there'll be more Harley gimmicks. Because, again, she's so over it. And I think the cruise really opened her eyes up to how much the fans really cared about her. And I know we put the cruise over a lot. I know we kind of talk about, the cruise push that they get.
And who we've talked to, who we've met.
I really think, because AEW doesn't have house shows, I think the cruise is like their house shows. I think they test out what they want to see. And I think Harley kind of being the Jill of all trades, doing everything, the singing, the guitar playing, the comedy. She wrestled Billy Starks in an incredible match, showing that she had skills to wrestle. And like you said, she's only been doing it for 5 years, but she looks good in the ring. For where she's probably started to now, she looks good. And I do see her time coming as a champion. So I want to ask you.
Did I see her being the first one eliminated? Hell no, I was not impressed.
But I do want to ask you, I know she's been a tag team champion. Do you see her winning a TBS title by the end of next year?
By 2027?
Yes.
Or 2028?
2027.
She better.
I agree.
I think at least keep competing for it. She's been competing for it since, 2024? I think that it's really shitty if we don't reward someone for their hard work. And I think that the more women's matches that we are seeing, which we are, I think that we are also guilty of holding this against Tony Khan. A couple pay-per-views ago, we saw, one match, 2 matches, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And he made up for it. He gave us, 4 or 5 matches this last pay-per-view that were women.
Real crazy thought, that essence to their fan feedback when it's genuine feedback and not just bullshit criticism, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think if you have been giving him grief about that, or the company in general grief about that, it's time to take a step back and really analyze that we are seeing it again. So maybe don't harp on it so much.
Or just, I would say, if you have valid criticism, it's how you express it. If you go online complaining about every little thing, they're going to ignore it. But if you're like, I really, really like this. It'd be cool if we could see more of this. Like personally, I'd like to see when Deanna Praws is healthy, I'd like to see her more in Dynamite. I think things like that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's something I see. I'd like to see more Harley on television. That's why I was hoping she got the TBS title. Because you don't need to be And I know AEW slogans "We're the best wrestle," and I get that Harley is a good wrestler, but you don't need to be 5-star match every single time. You can still have 10-minute matches
Put her
that
on
are good.
commentary for a minute. Like, that
Have
would
her be
a
someone's manager again.
fantastic- Yeah, like, just because a guy or girl isn't wrestling doesn't mean we don't want to still see them. And I don't want to see a whole lot of talking on my TV, but if it was Harley doing interviews with people
If it's
like
done-
Renee does, then I would be happy with that too. Like, Renee does so much behind the scenes. If we gave a little piece of that to Harley, oh, chef's kiss, that would cook.
And it'd be funny, even if, like, you know what, they can bring back the Harley Graham. Instead of that, it can be her videos for Instagram, and she could do little segments, like when they did TikTok Live for like a week. Like,
Bring that back.
It would be funny to see someone like Harley doing it and just going around interviewing people backstage, because she's so funny and she gets people to crack and break.
Speaking of cracking and breaking.
And speaking of people, we have a tag team for this one. And this is someone that we credit Smokey, aka Jeff, for turning all of us onto, the Outrunners. Now, I admit it, when I first saw the Outrunners were announced for the cruise that they were on, I was like, okay, you know, it's Jared Cruz. I'll give it a shot. I wasn't really a fan of them because I didn't know much about them. But we've known Jeff and Rachel for, 6+ years now. And when Jeff's like, no, I've watched them in NWA. I really dig them. They have this old school vibe. They think they're in the 80s. They wrestle like they're in the 80s. They're funny. They're entertaining. And I was like, all right. And I just saw Jeff, and he's, pumping them up, and we're watching him, and they were entertaining. They were entertaining as hell.
So, you guys have heard me talk about Hangman talking to the guy about his boots. When I stayed up real late one night, Jeff and I were over at the bar, and he is just chatting it up with the Outrunners. People are going in between him and I to keep ordering drinks. So I'm just admiring Jeff talking to the Outrunners, and everything about this conversation was just electric. And I just loved that that's what they gave somebody that I knew was such a fan. And I know he wasn't marking out. He was
on the inside, he was happy as hell.
Yeah, like, he was just in the conversation, in the moment, taking everything in, and we just keep handing drinks out to wrestlers as they're coming by us. And I think that was like something so cool and iconic for me to see the Outrunners do, that's why I'm such a fan of theirs. I liked seeing how they interacted with someone just based off of like, oh, hey, I like you.
And I like, because, again, people who live the gimmick, they buy into it. Their fans buy into it. Everyone who works with them. I mean, again, they call themselves the youngest men alive. They were rookies, their rookie year. They would come out and they would have 80s montages for videos, like VHS style effects. Their pictures, everything is retro. So it's like, if you've ever played the game Outrunner for Sega Genesis or Nintendo or in the arcade, it's very much that 80s Miami vibe, and I loved it. And they were perfect for the cruise because, again, 80s Miami jet skis. They're fun, entertaining, and they can wrestle. They're not lucha libre high flying. They're very much like an FTR technical.
I really hope
old
they're at
school.
Beach Break, because that would just be perfect.
It needs to be, especially now that they're trios champions with Dalton Castle. I think it'd be a great time to get them showcased again. And I just really like that. They caught on. It's one that I wish they stayed on Dynamite, because they had a good run against FTR. They had some good matches against the Bucks. They were in tag team title convention for a while. Then they kind of got put back to Ring of Honor. So I don't like that they kind of cooled off. I thought, last year they were incredibly over. I think, you son of a bitch is always one of the loudest pops they get. And I think that they can still get that reaction. I think tag team division's open. Bring them back on TV. They're fun. They're entertaining. Turbo, Truth, great to follow on social media. They're hilarious. I like that Turbo still wears the belt. He refuses to take it off during the match because he's afraid he's going to lose it. So I like their commitment to it.
Yeah, definitely. Every little detail that these guys put in, it's there. And I love what they've got going on with Dalton Castle. I think he totally fits their vibe. They're just kooky, and it's great.
And they're what wrestling's supposed to be. They're entertaining. And if you're a fan of the old school wrestling, like the FTR's technical style, chin locks and rest hold, I'm not making fun of it. I'm being serious. If you're into that arm drag takeovers and old school psychology, they embody like a modern style and an old style. They do such a good job blending that reality where you almost think you're going back in time watching their match. They do such a good job of it, and that's what works for their gimmick. And they live that gimmick 24/7. They don't break the kayfabe, which I think helps. They don't like wink and nudge to the camera like,
They don't break the fourth wall.
And I really enjoy that because in wrestling, it's a very rare trait. I think MJF's probably the only other person I can think of off the top of my head that truly stays in the gimmick 24/7. But next one is someone who probably has no choice because with that mask, it's kind of hard to not spot him if he's walking around. One of my favorite wrestlers from the days of TNA up to now, including Ring of Honor, Beast Mortos, Mr. Mercedes Moné himself, probably one of the craziest hybrid luchadors you'll ever see. Not only is he a big beef of a human, but he can dive and flip and do lucha style like the best of them. And he's incredibly fun and entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we first saw him as Black Toros, and for us, seeing him in like TNA, he worked in AAA.
He worked in CMLL.
Worked all over pretty much. And I think what's so cool about his gimmick is that mask. When you meet him in person, that mask is like kind of terrifying. When we first were watching and we knew he was coming to DPW and we were going to be meeting him, I saw that flesh-colored mask debut and on Dynamite or Collision, and I was like,
you don't like that one.
Please don't tell me he's gonna wear that to that show, because I am gonna be terrified to talk to him, and I'm so excited. And just like Vikingo, it's like sometimes you want to talk but you don't know how to translate it, so you can't really say a whole lot. So when we did meet Beast Mortos, I felt really bad because I wanted to say more than I could.
No, and I think too, the great thing about wrestling is sometimes you don't need language. I think sometimes emotions, he feeds off the crowd. Him and Jake Something teaming up together was an incredible sight to see. It's a tag team I didn't know we needed, and it could potentially happen now in AEW. I really liked his work with Rush and LFI. I really hate that he has visa issues right now, so he's kind of been trapped in Mexico. But I also think outside of his gimmick, it's cool that he's a real life lawyer. So obviously he's highly intelligent. I like that he's like literally the strong silent type. He doesn't talk. He just kind of grunts.
And maybe he did know what we were saying. He just chose to do the grunts. Like maybe that's just what he does.
Well, yeah, he's living his gimmick. I mean, he's a beast. He's not going to talk to you.
He's not going to be the only one on the list that doesn't really talk.
Unless he's with Roderick Strong, then he's Frank Mortos. He is not
That's
Beast
right.
Mortos. He is Frank Mortos, attorney at law. And his matches are hard hitting, whether he's headbutting you with that giant, ridiculous mask, whether he's doing a crazy flip, taking you with him like a Spanish fly style off the rope, diving at you, clotheslining you. A great match, Wrestle Dream, him and Hologram. I really liked watching him against Ospreay because you didn't think it was going to be good, and it was fantastic.
Who didn't think it would be good?
Him and Takeshita was another great match. And then him, when he's in the trios matches with Rush and Sammy or a combination of LFI, he's always the one that's just mauling people, pun intended, bulldozing people. And his match was entertaining. When he was in the Continental Classic, it was insane watching him just destroy people. Even if he wasn't winning, he was hurting you. He was making you earn that victory. And he's someone I really hope to see more of this year. I really hope we get to see him. Even if it's in a tag team match or a trios match, I just want to see more Beast Mortos. I think he's fun. I think he's entertaining. Another gimmick that I love because people sell that he's this big, strong dude that is going to bulldoze you.
And he is.
He probably is the nicest person in the world because when I've seen pictures on Instagram where he's outside the mask, he had the emoji on, he kind of looks like he's got that Roman Reigns look to him. So he obviously probably a handsome man under that mask, So Frank Mortos is obviously living good two lives, his lawyer skills and his wrestling skills. And I'm happy for it. And I want to see more of him on my TV.
Definitely. And
someone who I wish we saw also more of on TV, they are no longer with AEW. However, they are killing it on the indies. Had some of our favorite matches in AEW. It's Living Dead Girl, Abaddon. And I love Abaddon, and I know you love Abaddon.
Love Abaddon. So something I want to put out there is that they are accepting bookings. So if for some reason you're a promoter and you listen to us, thank you. And also, go book them. Abaddon has always been one of my favorites since they first debuted on Dark. I was loving everything they brought to the table.
They were so
Ashley
creepy.
Vox.
Like when they would just like crawl and you're like, whoa, what is this?
Yes, I broke when I met Ashley Vox at Limitless. I was like, why would you ever put your finger, like, why would you try to hook her? Because that was Ashley's gimmick, was hooking people. I was like, why would you do that to them? And she was like,
Britt Baker trying to do the lockjaw getting
it's
bit.
what I do.
What are you doing? You're going to get bit.
All these people are like, well, it's what I do. Like, I'm going to do that to them.
When we saw Abaddon bite Jamie Hayter's booty on the cruise, that was pretty funny. I got to share this story. When we saw Abaddon walk around the cruise, it was genuinely terrifying. There was one moment, I don't know if it was Cam or Emily. I don't want to throw you under the bus. Maybe she'll throw herself.
Maybe it was drunk me.
The elevator opens and Abaddon is standing in the elevator and Emily's like, I'll catch the next one.
Yeah. Like, do I absolutely adore them? Yes. But also terrifying. I remember having a drink in me. It was the cruise with no children. So
it couldn't have been Cam, that it was you. Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely me. There's the cruise that no children were there, so we definitely took advantage of the free drink package given. And in 2021, we were going down in, and I was like, all right, I need to do this. I need to just go ask for the picture. Will you take it? Like, I need to do this. So I go over and I asked for a picture. I think, was it Uno?
Yeah, Evil Uno and Abaddon were sitting together.
So I got the picture taken, and I was like, dang it was too dark. So then the next time...
We ended up taking a selfie, and they were behind us, and we're like, it was fun.
Like, there's so many pictures I have with Abaddon, and it was just, like, the best experiences, because I'm getting, like, the shit scared out of me, and you can tell I'm terrified. This was like when we went on the Walking Dead cruise and met the walkers. Like, this was literally the epitome of us meeting those walkers. When we went to the
meet and greet, Abaddon walked out from behind the table and just did like the zombie walk towards it. And
stared me down.
You generally backed up. And I was chuckling, and I wish I put live video on because I guarantee you can hear me chuckling. And they're so talented in the ring. Watching Abaddon wrestle is great. And another hidden talent, they sang Let the Bodies Hit the Floor 2 different cruises 2 times. I have the videos on my TikTok at It's Mongo. Go check it out. Holy crap, they nailed that song. Mm-hmm. And one, I love it because it's so meta that Living Dead Girl, a zombie, is singing Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. But the fact that they can scream the way they do and be that talented and badass in the ring, and their makeup is phenomenal. Like, sometimes even I find myself watching their Instagram reels or TikTok reels where they're putting on their horror makeup, and it's like incredible. And, you know, I'm going to put a match out there, whether it's Limitless, whether it's GCW, someone. Book Lio Rush and Abaddon, please. I need to see that. We saw Lio Rush and Shotzi. I want to see Abaddon and Lio. I think that match would be creepy and fun. And don't just make it Halloween. Abaddon can wrestle on every day of the year. It doesn't have to be Halloween. Like, that's a match I loved, was
the
Halloween match with
Zombie
Sheeta.
is here. Like, book her. Them, sorry.
And
book them.
We love the Halloween match that we saw in Boston against Britt Baker. That was a great hardcore match. I also like the one against Sheeta. That was a great, where they dressed up like Resident Evil characters. Absolutely love both of those matches. I think Abaddon is really good in the ring, and I think people just need to give them a chance. Again, like Emily said, book them, because great gimmick. Again, another silent, doesn't need to say much, says more with their wrestling and their style. And it saddens me that they're not on AEW TV, but I just really want to see them on more things. So hopefully someone picks them up, put them on TV, because you're missing out. And I don't know why they haven't done GCW. Maybe it's personal preference, but Abaddon's definitely someone that really, it fits the gimmick. People bought into it. They bought into it. And I think that's why it works.
100%. And
the last one is one, if you know, Emily's been gushing over this person for 7 years in a good way. We go back to her meet cute, the casino gauntlet. The Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. She saw a goddamn dinosaur in wrestling. And if you know anything about my beautiful wife, dinosaurs and wrestling are like her 2 favorite things.
I don't know every dinosaur. Like, please don't quiz me. I'm like wearing the Rock t-shirt and don't know the name of the bands. But dinosaurs in general, like, I watched Lego, like, dinosaur shit with Cam. No, what was this? Camp Cretaceous on Netflix. If you're a nerd, go watch that, okay? It's really good. I'm not shy to tell people all the time. Like, I will watch a dinosaur show. Show me this. Do I think a T-Rex was a bird? 100%. Don't ask questions. Just accept it. It's a bird. It's a dragon. It's a thing. So, Luchasaurus being introduced and coming out with every little piece that he does.
And then
being
basically
part
coming out with
of-
a Tarzan character.
Yeah, and then being part of BTE and needing to find his tail. Like, what the fuck? Like, yes, keep giving me this. Let's
And
keep
then
it going.
him having a master's degree in history.
Like, every little piece of Luchasaurus is epic, and I want more of it, and I'm so thankful Killswitch is dead. So thankful Killswitch is dead. I revived this for so long before Jack Perry. I would not die with that happening. I was so upset that he was Killswitch. I refused to let that go.
See?
Refused. He was Luchasaurus.
Killswitch. I'm just kidding. But no, I love everything about the gimmick. When I first saw, Luchasaurus is this 6 foot plus tall man who can do a standing backflip, who can dive, who is quick, who has strength, who has power.
A move called a tail whip.
And just was doing things that you didn't see people that looked like him body-wise, or looked like him because he's a dinosaur, do. And then just seeing him chokeslam someone to hell through those tables, it's just like, okay. And then seeing Jurassic Express come together and win the tag team titles. Their matches against the Bucks are some of the best matches that I've seen. And just seeing Luchasaurus in general, just his presence in the ring just is phenomenal to watch.
And cheap plug, go listen to our podcast episode with Marco Stunt where we interviewed him. And we were able to talk more about Jurassic Express and
kind of how it came together, a little behind the scenes stories.
So I think aside from these gimmicks, I also want to give a couple honorable mentions.
Okay, so yeah, so what's some honorable mentions we got for gimmicks?
Fuck your dad, Christian Cage.
Okay, I guess
he's toned it down.
I wouldn't say fuck
your
dad. I think he just says your dad's dead, but.
But yeah, like he really went for it.
Man, I wanted to buy a cameo so bad to him just saying your dad's dead because that would have been great for me. Yeah, don't worry, guys. My dad's looking up at me, your pride. So I think another I'll mention Kip Sabian when he did the box gimmick.
Yes.
I really sad didn't really go anywhere. But I really enjoyed kind of Kip trying to do something different, like the Forgotten gimmick. Allie the bunny. I like that she is back in TNA with Rosemary because Rosemary is another fantastic gimmick.
And they are developing that character.
They're the knockout. They're the knockout champions, right? Tag team champions now. So it's incredible to see Allie and Rosemary as champions. It's incredible to see Allie back in wrestling, knowing her, history, with her mental struggles, and I'm glad to see that she's able to overcome them because we're not in the public eye anywhere near they are, but we see hate and vitriol. I can't imagine it being magnified. So I hope Allie goes out there and kicks all the ass she can because she's an awesome person too, and so isn't Rosemary. I think another honorable mention, Chelsea Green. I think in our 100%. Truth. I think our truth. I think you would love to give some love to those gimmicks because I love. If you can make me laugh, you've done 50% of the job. And I'm not saying like I'm a hard critic. Trust me, if you've listened to the show, I'm pretty easy to win over in wrestling. I love wrestling. It's a buffet. I'm a fat guy. Of course, I love buffets. But if you can make me laugh without being like I'm stupid, if you can just do it with a silly and smart humor, like Chelsea, like an R-Truth, like a Harley, like a Toni Storm, like an Orange Cassidy, or you have those meta jokes where you call something back, it's like, ha, I remember that. And I think that's what makes a gimmick in wrestling to me, because,
you've got the hot dog, Don Callis. Ugh. Fuck him, he pisses us off. At the same time, he is a really great manager, and he is a really great gimmick right now. I think that he's...
I don't even know if I'd classify the gimmick. I think he's just a slimy douche turned up to 11.
Well, we have that, and then we have somebody I want to put out there and mention, Brody Lee. I think that he was a really fun... He came into AEW...
Like his cult leader style gimmick?
Yes. Okay. He came in and he was making fun of Vince, and he was doing all these things with BTE, throwing the papers. I think that what Brody Lee brought into AEW and BTE...
I wonder how much sales he got for Chili's.
Had to be a lot.
I feel like Chili's owes that man. And I think that watching old clips when you see Brody... I am ashamed myself that I didn't invest more time into him, because you're right. I think the cult leader gimmick, when he first came in as, the leader of the Dark Order, the Exalted One, you're like, at first I was like, oh, it's Matt Hart. Okay, Luke Harper. Okay, he's Brody Lee now. And then seeing him evolve in 2020, just seeing him go from, okay, yeah, he was a tag team champion, he was in the Wyatt family, to Okay, he's
fuck.
wrestling John Moxley. He's a badass. And it's like, it sucks. I didn't see a lot of his run pre-WB. I didn't get to see him on the indies. But going back and looking at his Brody Lee run and just seeing the care he did in, and then just seeing AEW doing the beautiful tribute show to him, how much impact he made on people, and seeing his son, Brody Lee Jr., mimicking his mannerisms, like the blowing the kiss before he does the discus lariat. It's beautiful and it transcends wrestling. And I think Amanda Huber is someone who really speaks highly about how she's dealt with it, how she dealt with the kids. If you're ever, dealing with any situations or you ever want to give love, go check her pages out on social. She writes very beautifully on these things. And I'm grateful that she shares some behind the scenes stories from John Huber, who is the person who played Brody Lee behind the scenes, because learning more about him through her, whether it's interviews, podcasts, or
he was just
specials,
such a fantastic human
just
and a father.
hearing his psychology and his general, like, nobody said a bad thing about him. That doesn't happen in wrestling.
So a lot of the wrestlers will talk about how he immediately would go home. He didn't really hang around. He was immediately going back home to his family because he loves them that much. And I think that speaks volumes as a wrestler. It's very difficult to travel the way that you do. And for him to still be such a family man is
very rare
something
in this day
that,
and age.
And a lot of the wrestlers behind the scenes, thank him for that because that's how they are with their families now. And another person that unfortunately was lost too soon was Bray Wyatt, who had an immense wrestling history and wrestling gimmicks and everything that Bray
Fiend
did.
was probably one of my favorites. I don't really care for a lot of spooky gimmicks because it's hard to immerse yourself, but Bray Wyatt freaked me out in a good way. Again, I think that's where Brody Lee took some inspiration from the original Bray Wyatt when he was in NXT, that cult leader, to what he transformed. And I think there were shades of that. Two great wrestling minds were lost. And I think it's crazy to think about 1 minute you're watching them have an amazing return and you're seeing, oh my God, I can't wait to see what this person does, to then you're waking up to the worst news ever. And it really makes you appreciate that. Yeah, we may nitpick wrestling. We may say this sucks or we don't like the story. But also you appreciate what I'm here because you don't know whether they could retire early. Life's too short. Maybe they don't like wrestling anymore and they want to step away. I mean, there's been wrestlers who've come in, had a year or two and go, this isn't for me, and step away, that had some phenomenal careers. There's been some that hang on too long, and then there's some we lose too soon. And I think the great thing about doing episodes like these is I want to appreciate, because I know in the past I've said I didn't like the early 90s WB because I didn't like the cartoony over-the-top characters. And that's true. I don't like the over-the-top. I like it when it's kind of like a blended reality, and I think everyone on this list, including the honorable mentions we've said today, are people who, take that character gimmick, but they still kind of fine-tune it. So yeah, it's a TV show. You don't take it seriously, but it's not like, hey, I'm a plumber. Dude, you're 7 feet tall. You ain't fitting in a crawl space. Like...
All right, to go a step further, we're going to talk about that plumber. Let's talk about his son, who probably... This list is in front of me, and I'm looking at it.
I wasn't even making fun of talking about him.
No.
That's funny. You mean speaking of, okay.
Speaking of, let's talk about the fact that Dustin Rhodes has probably worked with the majority of these younger talents that we've talked about today. And I bet you anything Goldust was a huge influence, I know, on Abaddon, and I'm sure across the rest of these.
Remember when Abaddon dressed up like Goldust for that showcase show? That was incredible.
I watched that when we first moved here. It was like a Rhodes Academy show. You can go back and watch it on YouTube. That's where I found it. It was 2022 in March because it was when we were in the hotel. And you're like, what the hell are you watching? I was like, I have to watch this. I can't not watch this.
So to wrap up, I have some questions. We're each going to give a different answer.
Oh, no. Okay.
So obviously, I don't want to go too long here. But out of this list, who is the best reinvention? Like, who's someone on this list that you think is the best reinvention of themselves?
Toni Storm.
I agree. I think Toni Storm.
You said we had to be different.
No, I said we can be different. Sorry, we can be different.
Okay.
Who has the best entrance?
Lio Rush. Or Abaddon.
I think the Outrunners, because I like the retro vibe. I like that. It looks like a TV. Best theme music.
Danhausen.
I like Harley. I think it's a bop. I like the feel the rat.
You and your girly pop.
Whatever. Who has this one? I don't want to do this one too easy. Who do you think is the funniest on this list?
Harley.
Cassidy.
Yeah, I feel like that's a tie.
That's
and
a good
Toni.
tie.
Like, that's so hard to do.
Which one of these characters you only think could exist in AEW? Which one of you, like, if obviously not Dan, because you can't take it, but out of the ones we named that aren't in WWE, which one of these characters do you think would not translate in WWE?
Honestly, some of them came from there. They wouldn't know how to book Luchasaurus.
Okay, I was thinking Orange Cassidy. I don't think they could do it. I think that they would lean too much onto the comedy. Wouldn't let him show off his wrestling skills.
Yeah.
And then last one. Which character would you show someone that has never seen a wrestling match? Like, if you had to pick out of this list only, which one would you show if you would say, hey, you want to see something funny or you want to see something entertaining? Which person would you show a match of? An actual match, not a segment.
Osprey versus Orange Cassidy. Like, I'd tell anybody to go look up. Osprey versus anyone, I'd tell somebody to look up. But Orange and Osprey specifically is a match that I would be like, go look this up, or Mimosa Mayhem. It depends on the person I'm talking to. But those are probably the two matches of Oranges I would recommend. And then I always talk about the Hollywood ending.
I think I'm going to surprise you. I think Toni Storm and Mercedes at All In last year, I think that build up, because I love how they were in the unique venues and she looked like she was in a theater when they were building that whole thing. And I think the match itself really showed how badass women's wrestling could be.
Okay.
That wasn't a hardcore match, because I think that's the only thing that separates it from the Hollywood is if you want to see like a traditional wrestling match that shows how two badass women can probably main event one day, I think Toni Storm and Mercedes.
Who's your male?
My male, I honestly think it would probably be Luchasaurus. I think maybe having him and Jack Perry, I think I'd show them a match against the Young Bucks. I think just because I'd want to show how good he is, like with his chemistry with Jack Perry, but also how he can flip and keep up with the Young Bucks. So I think, and then honorable mention will be Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr. Since we talked about that.
I was just gonna say, wait, I forgot to mention. So let's be honest here. Orange Cassidy versus anybody, I'm gonna recommend, and Toni Storm versus almost anybody, I would recommend.
So let us know in the comments. Did we miss any underrated gimmicks? Or did we miss any gimmicks that you like? Are there any matches that maybe you'd recommend? Someone out of either who we picked or someone you like. What match you say you've never seen wrestling for? Watch this match. Let us know in the comments below. We always appreciate the feedback. We also always appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And if you didn't catch the Shirt Farm shirts that went on sale today, unfortunately, you might have missed out. It sounds like they've all pretty much sold out. I mean, these things are sweet.
If you wear
I'm
a
excited
small,
to see them.
If you wear a small, go check the website. If you wear a 5X, go check the website. Those were like the two sizes that didn't really sell as many. So you might still have luck getting those two sizes. However, everything else seems to be sold out, and I'm so happy for them. I think that the Shirt Farm has such a great variety of shirts. I can't wait to see if they collab again, and I want to see more.
If they do, I'm going to suggest Sting,
I think that
Outrunners,
Toni Storm, I think Lio Rush.
Actually, everyone we named in this episode could use a great shirt if they're contracted under AEW.
Yeah. Let's see some tag teams.
That's what I'm saying. I think that Outrunners would be cool to see.
The Young Bucks. We always need more Young Bucks merch.
Luchasaurus would be a sick shirt. You could have Killswitch's design, but be Luchasaurus like the black mask and the green mask. You could do both. There's lots of possibilities. But again, if you're on Pro Wrestling Tees, you can also check out our shirt, Live, Laugh, Bruv. And if I see you wearing that shirt in England, we'll have even more surprises for you.
Yes.
So make sure you follow along our journey. Like, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. Have a great and safe 4th of July.
Help me shave this man's head.
Exactly. And remember, try to keep the same amount of fingers and toes you do during this holiday. Stay safe. And remember, always
keep the kayfabe.